66.0005 years ago. A cold wind blowing through a grey, desolate. The world is in darkness. No more dividing day and night. We're at the moment. A disaster that can destroy. Almost all life on Earth has just happened. It's a 10-kilometer diameter fireball from outer space that brought these giant lizards to their knees. The light that's left doesn't come from the sun. It comes from the flames that are burning everything. But in this deadly scene, and they're seeing amazing life again. The tiny creatures that are under the domination of dinosaurs is now free. They were not immediately destroyed. They will also face a battle for survival. Harsh is coming. Some of them will adapt. Evolution to invade the forests, steppes and plains around the world. Others take off to rule the sky, or dominate the vast ocean, where mosasaurs used to roam. And more special, one of the survivors will take the Earth into an unprecedented era. The human era today. Yes, people cannot appear, if only disaster hadn't happened that day. It's intense. It's terrifying. But how do these tiny creatures, that are our ancestors, we can survive the terrible end of the world? This question will lead us to the main point of today, the Human History series. Learn how to survive the end of the world. One more note, we'd like to talk to you about the audience. This series is not just about humans. It's also closely related to development, separation path, distribution of other species throughout the history of life. There's a lot of scientific theories that have been put forward, but there's no theory fully recognized by experts, as well as the public. So maybe the theory of evolution isn't quite as compelling yet. It will still be the best choice to develop related content in the series. Let's sit down and think for a moment. You think you can find information about your ancestors? How many generations ago? Maybe you can easily get the information about those born, grandpa, grandma, through family stories or family tree. But definitely, you can't be direct. What do we know about our ancestors many generations ago, at a time when feudal society was still flourishing? So what about our more distant ancestors? Many studies show that, of our ancient ancestors, lived more than 30,000 years ago, that shared this planet with another Neanderthal species. Not only that, between us and them, there's even hybrids. Before that very, very long, our ancestors were hairy creatures, moved by 4-chi, and always be alert to the stalking of the tiger Jang sword. And last row 10.00 our ancestors are breathing the same air, with these giant lizards, this ferocious. But they are AI. In 2012, while watching a collection of unidentified fossil bones kept in the museum, the scientists noticed an anomaly in the statistics about a small fossil. Looks very much like a fossil of a primate, something small. And it's amazing. They found it and successfully recovered part of the ankle fossil of Pogotorius species, potential candidates for you, the earliest ancestors of primates, including humans. But at the present time, primates include a collection of many mammals. It's not just us, but also our great ape brothers, and also the other branches. Even if there's a lot in common, the discovery of the first primate, it's also extremely difficult. The early primates in particular, or primitive mammals in general, they're all relatively small in size. Their bones are not well protected in the fossil record Earth, and it's almost impossible to find. Before the emergence of modern archaeological techniques, it's very likely thousands of mammal fossils that have been overlooked. It's even thrown away without knowing it. For the Pogotorius fossil this time, scientists after hours of processing came to the conclusion that Pogotorius has very flexible both-legged eyes. It's very common in animals that live on trees, similar to the modern apes. It's not the first time. Scientists discovered the fossil Pagatorius. By the year 1960s, we had some small teeth. To year 1965, when the study of those teeth came out, Purgatorius is called the first primate. Like a few teeth, it's hard to imagine what they might look like. Let's look at this. Some small teeth like this are highly likely. Maybe their main food source is plant insects. However, they live in trees, as the scientists concluded or not. It's still a big question mark. Purgatory. It's older than any other species ever discovered. But people don't really know how old they are. Until 2021, a study shows that Purgatory lived for 105 to 140,000 years after the extinction of the dinosaurs. While we don't have any, what direct fossil evidence does Purgatorius evolved? It's very likely they also lived at the end of the century. White dung in a dense forest, with these giant carnivorous dinosaurs walking around on the ground. It's about finding opportunities in the trees. It's very reasonable. Maybe it's in a forest somewhere in 6 places in North America. The story of man began to be told by Purgatorius. But of course, let the beginning happen. There must be something that ends. This centipede is moving on a branch of a tall tree. Without knowing that, it's being Purgatorius, tracking every move. Predators are waiting for a chance to succeed. With most other animals, animal blanket, it burns almost invisible because the color matches the dark wood branches. But Pegasus, there's no difficulty in locating the prey. With those sharp eyes, yes. Meanwhile, a group of long-necked dinosaurs were crossing the forest. With his big body, they've wiped out some of the vegetation in this area. Now they have to go on an unknown journey to find a food source that can accommodate Kia's enormous body. The heavy footsteps of the dinosaurs make the ground shake. But Pegasus is not afraid. He knew the dinosaurs wouldn't hurt him, as long as it stays out of the way they're moving. After obtaining prey with abundant nutrition, Purgatorius, allow yourself to rest. He looked up at the sky. And that's when this happened. A strange bright light. And it's getting bigger and bigger and falling down there. It's beautiful. It's so full of beauty. So are the dinosaurs below? They didn't realize that. The danger is approaching until it's too late. An asteroid with a size of 12 kilometers through the atmosphere, burning like the second sun in the sky. It won't be long before it reaches the surface of the planet. All will return to dust. The final result, we have the extinction of the dinosaurs, to end the Cretaceous and usher in a whole new era. White Judge, to witness the explosion of life at scale. It's amazing. The diversity is facilitated by warm temperatures, abundant oxygen source and favorable climate, dense forests that span almost everywhere on Earth. Not only that, creatures of prehistoric times. It's a particularly large size compared to today. The study was published in 2021 in the journal The Age of the Say. They believe that long-necked dinosaurs, it's probably one of the biggest creatures ever found on Earth, when possible up to be 7.1 meters high. But why are they so big? It's the first theory that scientists have come up with. It's the environmental factor, such as higher oxygen content in the air, that can contribute to the enormous size in dinosaurs. That's in the period before the era began. Atmospheric oxygen concentration has increased by 15-10-9% compared to the previous period. That's much lower than today's 21%. The same time period, the first dinosaurs appeared in the area, North American tropics. It's evolved to get bigger and bigger. This helps them easy access to air with higher oxygen content, while avoiding low-density areas of CO2. It didn't stop there. The existence of titanosaurs. Patagotitan is also known as the long-necked dinosaur, which brings us to the second theory of why they've grown to such enormous size. The answer is to get absorption and access to efficient food sources. Inspired by the giraffe, the scientists think that the titanosaurs have such long necks help them gain a significant advantage. Then the animals eat big grass. More specifically, they can cover larger areas of food and comfortable to enjoy. Food that other dinosaurs had. It's inaccessible. They also have a digestive system, allowed to consume huge amounts of food in a short time. The scientists think that Titanosaur needs to eat so much that he can't be picky, and its giant gut, it's able to digest even the toughest plants. Estimate, they need to spend 22 hours a day consuming 129 kilograms of plants. The huge size is a ceremony that helped dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures. It was easier to survive in prehistoric times. But before the fateful moment, that's the weakness of the mind. After the events of the Cretaceous, no animals survive on land. Weighing more than 25 kilograms still exists and grows to this day. The extinct radio, it wiped out more than 75% of the world's organisms. Geological history of the Earth have seen countless times of terrible VA touch, and they're still there. It can't be erased until today. Red Fork crater in Nepal is 160 kilometers wide. It was probably created about 2 billion years ago. According to NASA's Earth Observatory, it's been largely eroded, but based on what's left, scientists estimate that the author of this is a VA asteroid. Diameter 10,105 kilometers, further afield in the Strawberry region of Ontario, Canada. There's also a trace of giants like Brady Ford. 2-year study, not 14 in the journal Terranova. Given that, maybe it's not an asteroid. It's a giant broom star, or a mixture of rocks between pieces of the asteroid, and the ice has VA touched the Earth. Space objects from nearly 10 kilometers in diameter. It hit the Earth about 1.8 billion years ago. But what we're really interested in here is, it's why the world has such a terrible impact. That small creatures, including our ancestor Pegasus, can survive again. The idea of a mass extinction event in the last century, it was recognized by scientists over 200 years ago. 1825 French naturalist Josh Carrier. I've noticed a significant change in fossil biodiversity between the early and late centuries. White part. Fossils from large animals have been gradually replaced by fossils from smaller species, like birds or mammals. It's clear that something relatively serious has happened, but there's no evidence to support that theory. All explanations are rejected. The controversy unfolded until an important discovery was made. Plays a decisive role in the history of the planet by 2 geologists in the Gulf of Mexico. Late years are 972 geologists Glenn Penfield and Antonio Camargo is conducting aerial survey to assess oil and gas exploration in Mexico. They're tasked with finding possible sites for the gradual construction of oil drilling. And then there they discovered a giant crater buried beneath the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. 2 scientists have shared their findings with Petróleos Mexicanos, but oil companies banned them from disclosing the 10 collected data. The existence of the crater remains sealed, without anyone knowing. But only a few years later, another group of scientists began to report on the concentration, iridium unusually high in stone, from the end of the White Age. They named it the KPG world name. This group is led by Luis Alvarez, who won the Nobel Prize for Water. Alvarez. They've surveyed many different locations, including Italy, Denmark, and New Zealand. They all produce a result. 66.00. The Earth suddenly appears very unusual. A very rare chemical element, iridium. Iridium is very hard but also very brittle. Similar to platinum, it occurs in extremely small quantities in the Earth's crust. On the surface, it's even less. Where there is iridium, the most abundant that we know exactly, are asteroids in outer space. This led the team to speculate that abnormally high levels of iridium at the KPG boundary It could come from outer space. The scientists are excited. Year 1 right in
80.
a report. They think that the big impact of an asteroid, it may have caused this phenomenon. It's called the Alvarez hypothesis. But it's hard to understand when you don't get an answer back. Not until 1990. It's only now that we can analyze the rock samples more accurately. And they finally know the location of the VA impact. The Alvarez hypothesis is reinforced and confirmed as a leading cause, leading to the White Equinox extinction event, the crater that Clement Penfield discovered. It's called Lake Giselap, based on the name of a city near this area. But our Earth, up to more than 12,000 kilometers in diameter, it's a small asteroid. It's not enough to kill almost all the animals, including creatures on the other side of the globe like that. There must be something behind that. Slot Lake is about 180 kilometers in diameter, with the size of the crater, so scientists can calculate the energy, the same mass and size of the object. It touched the Earth years ago. The asteroid is moving at 40 times its speed sound to create an explosion with a force equivalent to 100,000 tons of TNT explosives release. That's about 7 billion times the energy of an atomic ball. It creates a massive shockwave, pulled by the violent tsunami, hit hard on the coast of Mexico. Next, a magnitude 10 earthquake that shakes the ground. And then there's the rain of rocks, pouring down from above. Even though it's terrible, the VA touch, it only causes damage to the surrounding area, and then it's the culprit who killed the dinosaurs. The VA caused a large amount of dust to be thrown up. This amount of rock soars up into the atmosphere, condensed into giant black clouds. This cloudland is widespread throughout the atmosphere, rapidly covering the surface of the Earth, and then combined with gravity on Earth, the dust clouds fall again in the form of torrential rain. Trillions of dust particles plummeting into intense friction with the atmosphere. It creates a terribly hot atmosphere. That heat has made the trees and the forests. Many places are burning. The Earth is now like a giant oven. Everything on the planet is roasted. These are huge animals. He is the poorest victim. They're subject to every hot wind that blows through every grain of flesh. Tsunamis crashed against the shore and swept everything away. Or earthquakes that create these horrible flares. Not only that, the heat storm wiped out all sources of food to cause acid rain that pollutes drinking water. After the storm, the Earth was covered in dust, the thick layers of dust that block the sunlight. And as a result, many of the trees were destroyed. Because it can't photosynthesize. But then our ancestors survived. But how? "600 years ago, the last hungry eagle, the rat braved weakly and became extinct. Its prey, this giant flightless moa bird. It's been extinct before. Singing eagle, it's not going extinct because of competition or because of climate change. It's because its food source is gone. Since the reptile era ended, these mammals have come to dominate the world. But that's never happened in New Zealand. Before the land mammals appeared, the only mammal on the islands, the island of New Zealand, some species fall. And of course the singing eagle becomes the ultimate predator. At the top of the food chain in this place. But the emergence of another species of mammal, that changed everything. Human settlement on the islands of New Zealand around the 14th century, and with sophisticated weapons, extremely effective group hunting tactics, the singing eagle doesn't have any competition. Within 200 years, the outsiders are hunting. Most large birds can't fly. The eagle's main food source. From the story of the eagle hash, it's easy to see similar properties on a scale. The whole animal kingdom. It shows the danger of being dependent on a single food source. Eagles sing not only to moa birds, they have a much more complicated relationship than that. Even the size of an eagle also grows in parallel with moa. Without the moa bird, eagles simply can't survive. So while the great predators, and just hunts a prey like an eagle. H can succeed in a short time. Then animals have the ability to adapt, to exploit many food resources, to have a long life. This is especially accurate when we go back to the great event. White part strain. But compared to what happens next, VA collides with asteroid. It doesn't really seep in. The night after the accident, ancestors, we are suddenly plunged into a world of darkness. It's cold, where many of these species have shared. Life suddenly disappears after just one night. The lush ecosystem of the Cretaceous, it's become hell with animals. That by exploiting every resource possible, not just food, our ancestors have miraculously adapted. Any animal that survived the extinction, white chalk period, are all capable of practicing survival strategies. Extremely smart, like digging holes, swimming or nesting. Small size is an advantage when it comes to V adjustment, to find different sources of food. For example, insects or other small animals. Most importantly, new food is available. That ability allows Purgatorius in particular, and small animals in general, hiding from the worst effects of the VA touch. The Purgatorius that lives on trees is so used to eating insects. But there's one more problem that needs to be solved. In the period after the VA hit, the vegetation has also been destroyed a lot. No more big old trees, or the familiar dense rainforest. How our ancestors were able to adapt. Everything shows that the abundance of plants can recover quickly. Ecosystems take at least 5,000 years to go into stability as originally. Purgatorius needs to do something to overcome this harsh situation. And they did. The fossil record shows that the first plants to regenerate after the disaster is the fern as we're seeing it. But in the 10 years after the VA hit, the world has seen a tremendous growth of mushrooms because fungi don't get their energy from photosynthesis, so they're not affected by the decline. Serious from sunlight. The competition from plants is over. A world filled with mushrooms. It's a completely foreign sight. It'll provide a source of nutrition. It's important for animals trying to survive, whether post-apocalyptic Earth. And finally, even if the nest, our ancestors have adapted to the way we live in trees. They also have to be flexible enough in their behavior to venture to the ground when necessary. Maybe Purgatorius has changed behavior for modern squirrels. I like to spend time on trees, but sometimes they go to the ground looking for food. Not only that, our ancestors also had it. You can escape the wildfires in the first few weeks after the VA hit by finding refuge underground or in natural stone caves. Living in a tree for many years, they're also capable of building impressive nests. These nests will provide warmth and safety when the temperature drops. In addition to developing the ability to swim as modern primates, allowing them to exploit aquatic species added to food sources. There's actually a lot of evidence to suggest freshwater ecosystems not seriously affected by the asteroid impact, as saltwater or on land. It doesn't matter what survival strategy is used. We know that it's really worked. We even here today in an unprecedented position. Despite the KPG extinction event, it's not the greatest extinction event of all time, but it's a pivotal event for the balance of life on Earth. There's a theory here that says, if the asteroid Kia hadn't crashed into the Earth, is it the age of giant reptiles? It will never end. If there is no mass extinction series at the end of the Cretaceous period, can humans evolve? To make it easy to imagine, evolution is a process of constant, steady progress throughout the White Age. Sometimes evolution can explode. In the first few million years after the extinction event, the mammals evolve into more and more different forms compared to 160.0005 due to the sudden absence of dinosaurs. Mammals grow in size, and the shape is so rich that it's never been seen before. taking advantage of empty ecological spaces for a completely remade world. A whole range of new species of mammals have emerged. Paramys armadillo, ancient rodent. Otis and Oya, the oldest branches. It's known from the mammalian branch that evolved into today's sea cows and elephants. The Rocky Mountains are forming angulogons. Wolves stalking the forests of North America. One of them grows to the size of a bear. And so the whole era passed. Larger species of mammals establish his place on the new Golden Lord. But what about us? 12.000. The creatures of the new primate branch are thriving. Their later descendants were identified. They will be the ones who take over the world. Lived at the beginning of the new age 55 million 5 years ago. Impact of the asteroid. It almost wiped out all life. It's just the past. Now there's only the crater, hundreds of kilometers across the Gulf of Mexico, and the rainforests that reach out beyond the equator, much more than today. Fossils of tropical plant species has been found further north, Greenland and Alaska. The planet becomes the perfect place for primates. They've taken up most of the space, and can be seen, flying between the branches, in the forests of North America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. Primates share a tropical paradise with a number of other mammals. Primates of this period in general is own small size, while they're definitely a group of mammals, successful and quickly formalized. It's been a while. The new Earth becomes the home of the greater Chi, like today's apes and baboons. 34,000.005 before the next era. Since the new age has passed, the mammalian species have grown larger. It's more scary, but they also face the toughest challenge. Ever since their ancestors struggled to survive in the post-apocalyptic conditions of early antiquity, then the ice suddenly happened to get everyone back into the fight for survival. But the winds survived the end of the world. Most species have been able to adapt quickly. Lasted between 34 million to 23 million 5 years ago. It's a time of transition, with ancient climate and environmental conditions, characteristics of earlier eras, replaced by the same conditions, with the conditions that we're familiar with today. In this world, the most important thing is intelligence, gradually outperforming our primates. 17.00. A group of curious primates sitting on the ground, picking up the fruits and seeds that fall in the fallen leaves. Like primates before them, they're species that live in trees, but their four-legged movement, easy to walk under the ground. They're much larger than Purgatorius. Their ancestors are with us. Some special individuals in Chi. It's about the size of a gorilla. What? As soon as we realize that predators are approaching, one in the group sounds a warning. Individuals that are below ground quickly back to the tree. It's very similar to their ancestors in earlier times. They're smarter and own the brain. It's much larger than other animals of the same size. Maybe right now. New primates and growth trends. Superior brain development is actually beginning. We are all prepared for our arrival. Another 10,000.005 The world passed. Witnessed the appearance of hyenas, ancient and Lake Jiang sword, symbolic species for the times. But for many other reasons, this time must be the age of the apes. The soil strain that evolves to the body and allows many of them can deal with many different problems. These include more complex environmental and ecological issues. And then a completely different species of ape appeared. In just 7 million short years, with a blink of an eye in Earth's history. Their descendants will build cities, creative out-language arts, and set up complex belief systems. They're everywhere in the world. Build skyscrapers and build supercomputers. Conquer the sky. It's all amazing.